Infinite awareness is the identity one is. Eternal awareness is the identity one is. That position can be assumed right now, without weight, without struggle, because it's a fact right now. We don't have to wait until all the maps of the flat earth are reprinted, declaring that the earth wasn't flat but is round. We don't have to wait until all the printed material in the universe begins disclaiming the existence of ego, of a personal possessor of life. We can take that identity to be our own this moment, because it is who and what we are this moment. About this false sense of I, about this false identity. Just who is the one who struggles to understand the truth? He is always the one who says, I am aware. I am the one who possesses an awareness of my own. I am the possessor, the container of life. I am the one who looks at the sights and the sounds of my own awareness and then make my determinations about whether this is valuable or that is invaluable. This is good, that's bad, I like, I don't like. That's the one who struggles to understand. The one who struggles to understand says, I am the one who uses all of the sights and sounds within awareness in order to get along in the world, as though the sights and the sounds within awareness were separate and apart from him, as though he were one speck on the grand screen of awareness and the sights and sounds on the rest of the screen were separate and apart. Yes, separate and apart from the speck, from the I possess life, but not separate and apart from screen, the screen of awareness, God's comprehending going on, which is right now listening to these words. Who is the one who understands the truth? Inevitably, the one who understands the truth is the one who is simply being awareness itself, only, right now, and has let go the concept of being a little limited speck in space that possesses it, owns it, uses it. Well, now what does it require? What does it require to give up the possessor? Well, it is just as easy as letting go nothing, because that's what the possessor is, nothing. The possessor is a dream. The possessor is a belief that life is in matter. To stop being the possessor, to stop being him, is to stop doing those things the possessor does. And what's that? Well, the possessor is forever looking on the sights and sounds of awareness and saying, they're out there, they're not me. That's a tree over there, and I'm here, me, a body that weighs 150 pounds or some such thing as that. And how does one stop seeing things as outside himself when actually the view of things does not change a bit? How does one stop doing it? Well, to identify as awareness is so easy to say, why, the tree I see is the tree I be. The tree is included within identity. And identity is this very awareness that is going on here and now. I identify as life living. And suddenly we find ourselves with a brotherhood never experienced before, never known before. Suddenly we see that all the people we see are but the infinite appearing of an infinite and eternal identity. All right, now it's been taught so often that to take this grand identity as oneself is to give up and lose the old personal sense of self. It is to lose one's ego, and that it melts into some grand charismatic light. Now, this is the charge often brought to bear against Eastern philosophies and sometimes brought to bear against Christian Science. But it isn't so at all. Ego is still present to be seen within the grand scope of awareness, but it's understood for what it is. The grand scope of awareness still includes a tree and its shadow. And the shadow inevitably leads straight away to the tree. And awareness knows that tree is tree and shadow is shadow. So ego is still plainly evident to be seen. Ego, shadow that leads straight away to egolessness, or the divine ego that God is. And that God is God, and that ego is ego. Oh, it's very interesting to see how clearly one does begin to see when he identifies as awareness itself, life itself, and not as one who possesses life and has it stuffed in his body like an apple in his pocket. Now listen gently. Right now, you hear a sound coming from a tape recorder. Perhaps you hear the sound of automobiles in the distance or children playing. Isn't it possible to simply be the awareness within which this sounds, and the children laugh, and the automobiles in the distance sound? Isn't it possible to simply not be the one that says, this is my awareness? Oh, yes, it is possible. And to let go that me who says my is to let go the weight of Job, the weight of the world. Now, you know, folks, one must see this for oneself. And it isn't done with effort. You see, awareness is being aware whether we believe we are the possessors of awareness or not. We've believed that for such a long time, it sort of hangs in there like the smell of smoke. But to let go the possessor of awareness is effortless on the one hand, and yet it must be done, consciously done, but it's done with tenderness and love. It's done with gentleness, and it's done with a soft touch. You see, it's like opening one's eyes. It's like awakening. It's like relaxing, just relaxing, and letting go trials and tribulations. Letting them go to the wind. It's like opening one's hand and loosing and letting go a gas balloon with which we've been long enamored. It's like ending struggle. It's like going home to a warm and happy place. It's like coming home again, only to discover, why, this is where we've always been. This is what we've always been. We have always been just life, being life, living. We've always been awareness itself. There's never been a time or a situation, no matter how terrible it seemed, and no matter how pain-filled or grief-stricken it seemed, when life or awareness or consciousness wasn't just going right on being aware. We've always been aware of trees and children and the sounds of things. Awareness itself has just gone right on being aware. Oh, it has always been the one who says, this is my awareness, who has been the one who suffered, who's been the great judge on the scene, who says, I don't like this sight and that sound. I want to get rid of this. I want to change that. I want this and that. It's always been this imposter who's been miserable or happy, according to how well things go in his little small frame of reference as to what's good and what's bad. That's the one. The possessor is the one that has always been engaged in such great, prodigious thought-taking and planning and calculating and arranging and rearranging. He's the one who created time, a time that was very necessary for his sequential events to transpire. And that imposter is that miserable one that we let go just as quickly as we take life, consciousness itself, to be the only identity in all existence. The only identity in all existence. I guess the most difficult thing I've found to communicate is the fact that there is but one awareness. I'm not the only one who has found it difficult. I have read countless instances where those who have made this simple, gentle, marvelous discovery that awareness is single, alone, only, and all, have found it relatively impossible to look out at that object within awareness, call people and say, listen, awareness is single, alone, only, and all. And then see what appear to be others understanding that. Most often, those who attempt to make this point are forced to give up, or else find themselves coming down from the position and reaching out and talking to others as though they could themselves perceive and understand, rather than just appear to. We awaken in the morning, it seems. And awareness is aware. Awareness is about the business of perceiving. God awareness. Not a Bill awareness or a Mary awareness or a Jane awareness. Just awareness is being aware. Now, awareness, it is the same awareness. If we look in the mirror and say, aha, this is my awareness of being, I am the owner, the custodian of this awareness. Well, now, it is the same awareness whether we do that last or not. But we don't have to become and play the part of the ego possessor of awareness. We can just be awareness. Now, we go on through the day just like we've always done. It doesn't change anything in particular, but oh, how different it is to see that since all things appear within awareness, and awareness is the substance of all things, that identity is just as big as the scene is, and how much different it is to go through the day with the entire scene, one's identity, and not just that little bag of bones called Bill or Jan or something else. Now, granted, that little bag of bones will still be there. It still appears to walk around and be a part of the scene, but for good reason. We can see that awareness has, in essence, been identity from the word go, and that to limit identity to the size of a bag of bones and give it a time when it was born, and worry about a time when the bag of bones is going to die, is to ignore the infinity that awareness is being. Now, the comprehension of a subtle viewpoint like this appears to require much repetition. The same ideas presented from many angles, softly or vigorously or shockingly or directly, as we're doing it right here, sometimes obtusely and sometimes even obversely. Without question,
subtle viewpoints are perceived often from out of our frustration and from out of the humility of helplessness. Whatever leads us to the heartfelt comprehension of light also leads us to the repugnant emptiness of this ego shell, this concept of this is my life, my awareness, that we've all, for good reason, been encrusted by, as appearances go, a shell to be seen for what it is and forsaken. It is the very contradistinguishing nature of human living that allows for the delineation of divine being in exactly the same way that darkness is the means by which light is delineated. Were we all right here, right now, chickens in an incubator, having been bathed forever in the light of an incubator, would we know what light is and know it, infinitely know it, beyond all intellectualism, until somebody pulled the plug and for a moment is not light, or light's contradistinction called darkness became apparent? At that moment, light and what light is would be known by even those who didn't even care about it, didn't even want to know about it, wouldn't acknowledge the existence of it. Suddenly wisdom reigned upon the just and the unjust in that moment of darkness. And so it is that our humanhood is the means by which the divinity that is real is made plain. And those two are a single one. A single one. The tree and its shadow are one tree, but it's tree that has power and authority and love